and Jeremy Paxman. Joining me in the studio now is a surprise guest, the very racist, leader of the racist UKIP party and overall racist, Nigel Farage. Welcome, Mr. Farage. Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. UKIP is not a racist party. We are non-sectarian, non-racist. We are a patriotic, nationalistic party in favour of our own government in our own country and not being run by some Johnny foreigner in Brussels. That does not make us racists. That makes us proud, patriotic UK independence people. Well, I'm reading a tweet here from one of your councillors in Gloucester who says if we shoot one pufter, maybe 99 pufters will stop thinking about pufter things. What do you say to that? Well, that's categorically not racist. There's nothing racist at all about that. I don't know what you're talking about. And wasn't it true that it was one of your councillors, Mr. Farage, that said last month that the recent flooding in Britain, and indeed the rest of Europe, was totally due to Jesus crying at all the pufters? No, he did not say that. He categorically did not say that. What he in fact said was that it was due to all the foreign pufters. Isn't that right, Mr. Farage? You are indeed a racist, aren't you, Mr. Farage, and your party is a racist party. Look, no one's going to shoot any pufters, whether or not they're British pufters or European pufters. That's not what my party is about. And how about your small business spokesman who employs 7 illegal immigrants, Mr. Farage? Well, that's a very interesting point. He doesn't in fact employ those illegal immigrants himself because it's not actually his business. It's his son's business that he was a director of, that he's resigned from. Very conveniently resigned the day after the 7 illegal immigrants were found. There you go. How can we be a racist party then if we're employing illegal immigrants? Whenever we found racists in our party, we've got rid of them. And I can't say that about the other parties. Look at the bloody Conservatives. They've got people from the BNP running for them. Well, we're not here to talk about the Conservatives, are we? There's a rumour going around that when you're in the pub with your friends, you use words like nignog and the N-word that Jeremy Clarkson used. Therefore, Mr. Farage, you're definitely a racist, aren't you? Look, I said nignog once in the context of a nursery rhyme, a bit like Jeremy Clarkson did. Therefore, it's not in a racist sense. I was not being derogatory to any nignogs when I said nignog. And in fact, I have never used that N-word. Mr. Farage, what is your first name? Well, you know the answer to that. That's a ridiculous question. What are the first 4 letters of your name, Mr. Farage? N-I-G-E. And what does that spell, Mr. Farage? N-I-G-E. Nigget. Ah, there you go, you see. You've just said it. You're a racist. You're definitely a racist, Mr. Farage. Look, in politics, people throw mud. But I've heard that in Europe, Mr. Farage, you're in a group with people like Speroni, who's a massive Anders Breivik fan. Are you an Anders Breivik fan, Mr. Farage? Look, we're a party that wants to set itself aside from the far right. Well, you might be saying that, Mr. Farage, but Private Eye says you've had your medical bills paid for you, haven't you? Look, I've paid my own medical bills. I've given up a lot to save the country from bureaucracy. Have you really, Mr. Farage? You were company secretary of a company that was wound up owing the Inland Revenue £120,000, weren't you, Mr. Farage? Well, look, how many of your employees were illegal immigrants, Mr. Farage? Look, I've said this 100 times. UKIP is not a racist party. We are non-racist, non-sectarian. Of course we've got idiots in the party. Every party has its idiots. OK then, Mr. Farage, if you're not a racist, how come you said that you don't like to hear people talking gibberish on the train? Look, that's not what I said. What I said was I got on the train one evening in London. There are rules. On London transport, there are rules. The rules are quite simple. We all know the rules. They are no eye contact, no talking. I got on a train in London and all I could hear was yak tom tak tom dubshe dubshe tak. And I found it offensive. You're obviously a racist then, Mr. Farage. Why do you find foreign languages offensive? Look, I didn't say I found it offensive. What I said was, your wife is a German speaker, isn't she, Mr. Farage? Yes, my wife is from Germany. Do you find her language offensive? No, because when she's in public, she's integrated with society and she chooses to speak English. She doesn't go gibbering on in her own gibberish that nobody else can understand. Only a racist would marry a German, though, wouldn't they, Mr. Farage? Look, that's a ridiculous point. UKIP is not a racist party. We are non-racist, non-sectarian. Mr. Farage, Adolf Hitler came from Germany, didn't he? Look, UKIP is not a racist party. We are non-sectarian, non-racist. Mr. Farage, you married a German because you love Adolf Hitler, don't you? Look, UKIP is not a racist party. My wife is not Adolf Hitler. She's not even Eva Braun. Why don't you ask the Conservatives about their German wives? Why don't you ask Labour about the amount of Germans in the Labour Party? With respect, Mr. Farage, they're not in the studio, are they? So, Mr. Farage, if a group of Romanians moved in next door to you, why would you be worried? Look, I didn't say I'd be... Look, when I said that about Romanian gypsies, I was very tired. Very tired of foreigners, Mr. Farage. I don't want to live next door to Romanian gypsies because they're responsible for 98% of the crime in the London Metropolitan Police area. Why are you frightening immigrants with your posters with a big pointy finger, Mr. Farage? Look, my poster's not frightening anyone. It's merely a pointy finger. It's not a pointy gun. It's nothing to be worried about. But immigrants are frightened, aren't they, Mr. Farage? Immigrants that are already here. Immigrants that are integrated with British society. Look, we are a non-threatening, non-racist, non-sectarian party. Why don't you come and meet the black and Asian UKIP candidates? Oh, some of my best friends are black. And why have you reverse ferreted on your expenses? Look, I have not ferreted anything. You've reverse ferreted, Mr. Farage. I haven't reverse ferreted anything. Oh, yes, you have. You've reverse ferreted. You've definitely reversed a ferret. Patrick O'Flynn, why are you interrupting? Well, I told you now that, you see now, I'm the Director of Communications for UKIP, and I said you could only have 20 minutes, and you've already had 22 minutes. Nigel Farage, thank you for joining us.